y'all, howdy. Welcome to One for the Books. I'm Sandy Broadwell, and today we're going to do a mid-year goals check-in. It is July 15th as I'm filming this, so we are about 2 weeks past the actual halfway point of the year. So I just figured this would be a good time to look at what I've done so far this year, what my goals were. I actually re-watched my goals video that I filmed in December to kind of remind myself what my intentions were that I had set for the year, and I just think this is a great time to refocus on what those are, recalibrate if they need to be adjusted, and yeah, just think about moving into the second half of the year with as much intention as I did in the first half. I get really inspired by seeing other people talk about their goals and making progress on things that they care about. So if you would like to share some of your goals for the second half of the year down in the comments below, I would love to read them. So when I did my 2025 goals video, I split them into 4 categories. So I had 3 reading goals, 2 healthy routine goals, 3 house goals, and 2 community goals. So I'm gonna do that same format to talk through what they were and what they are going to be moving forward. So starting with the reading goals, my first goal that I talked about in December was reading at least 8 classics this year. And I am behind on this one right now. I have only read 2 classics so far, and I DNF'd another one, but I read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne and I, Robot by Isaac Asimov, so I do feel good about those 2. However, I have DNF'd Master and Margarita, which to be honest has thrown off a vlog that I started back in January, and I'm still trying to figure out if that's just going to the scrap pile or if I will eventually finish that vlog. But so I do need to read at least 5 classics. I hadn't really thought about whether I would include DNFs as part of my count, but I did attempt it. At minimum, I need to read at least 5 classics. I should hopefully read 6 to have finished 8 classics, but I think based on the way my year is going, just attempting 8 classics is probably the way to go. My second goal for 2025 was to read every book that I bought or acquired in 2024, and that was including books that I got for Christmas. That's actually 16 books. I have 14 of them up here on the screen because the other 2 were books 2 and 3 of the Mask of Mirrors, the Rick and Rose trilogy. So obviously if I read the first one and don't like it, then I'm not going to continue with that series. But I have only read 5 of the 14 books so far, and I'm currently in the middle of Gideon the Ninth. So that's why that one has a different colored check mark on it, because I could say by the time this video goes up, I will probably have finished Gideon the Ninth, and so I have read 6 of 14. Obviously below half, and at the halfway point of the year, that's not sounding great. If you've watched some of my other recent videos, then you know I've had a very slow reading pace over the last 3 or 4 months, much lower than previously on my channel. And I think a lot of that is just the phase of life that I'm in right now, where at the end of last year, we moved to a new city, we bought a new house, I started a new job. And so there's just been a lot of change in my life over the last 6 to 8 months. I just haven't had as much capacity to read. So there are definitely books on this list that I thought I would have read at this point of the year that were on my internal TBRs for some previous months. I do not know that I will be able to make those up since I have continued to be on a somewhat slower reading trajectory, and I don't know that I necessarily want to prioritize some of these over the other books on my upcoming TBRs. So I don't know that I will accomplish this goal, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I do still intend to read all of these eventually, and I will definitely be reading more of them throughout the year, but I don't know that reading all of them is in the cards. So I don't necessarily think I want to adjust this goal other than acknowledging that I'm going to do my best, but it's unlikely to be completed this year. My last reading goal for 2025 was to read at least 10 new releases, and I'm happy to say I'm very much on track for this one. I have read 6 new releases already this year, and I have DNF'd another one, so I will only need to read 3 new releases if I'm including DNFs, or 4 if I'm not, and I have plenty more new releases that I am excited about that I'm planning to read this year, so I think this will be, thankfully, an easy check off at the end of the year for me. I hadn't set any YouTube goals for myself this year going into the year, but I do just want to shout out the fact that I broke 1,000 subscribers for the first time this year and now have over 1,300, almost 1,400 subscribers. So that feels like a really big accomplishment. And so even though that wasn't a goal of mine, very happy with that. Even though I have, similar to taking a big slowdown in reading, I have also slowed down on my YouTube uploads for a couple of months there. I'm back into the swing of it now, but it's still really cool to acknowledge that I've been on YouTube for 3 years now, and my channel is continuing to do slow and steady trajectory of increased views and subscribers, and that feels really good. My next 2 goals were in the healthy routine category, and my first goal in that category was that I wanted to write, I wanted to work on my novel on mornings that I work from home before I start my workday. And I have not done that. That's okay. I do, of course, wish that I had been doing that, but I just haven't really had that sort of creative capacity. I have just prioritized settling into my new job a little bit more than my creative pursuits this year, and I think that was the right call. However, I am excited to get back into writing and to prioritize that for the second half of the year. And actually this evening, as I'm filming this, I am attending my first ever writing group. It's not like a writing critique group, it's a group called Shut Up and Write. And you like get together at like a coffee shop or wherever, and there's like a timer set for an hour, and you just type away with everyone else who's writing. And then at the end, there's like time for being social or whatnot if you want, or you can just pack up and leave. But it is like a dedicated space for people to come together and work on their separate projects. And no one has to read your things or critique your things. So it is just time to do the thing. And so I'm attending my first group like that tonight. Like I said, it's called Shut Up and Write, and I'm pretty sure it's a national group, so you can see it if you're interested in writing, if there's a Shut Up and Write group near you, and so you could do the same thing. So that's something I'm really excited about. This will be my first writing session of the year, and I've been thinking about it nonstop for the last few weeks, and so I know it's time to get back into it, and hopefully I will be able to attend more of these groups in the future. And I also recently found out that one of my coworkers has a fantasy writers group that they host at their house like every other Sunday. And so I'm a little intimidated by that, more so than a group where I can just go write and not have to talk to people about my writing. But I think that it would be really good for me to attend an actual writing group that supports each other and talks through problem issues and things like that. So I want to say that my goal for the rest of the year is that I will at least attend 1 or 2 actual writing groups and set new habits for writing for myself. The Shut Up and Write group meets once a week, and I doubt I will be able to attend once a week, but I would like to attend lots of those going forward, and hopefully that will be able to inspire me to do some actual writing at home as well and pick up on writing before work in the mornings as well. My next healthy routine goal was to work out on days that I am going into the office, because I do have a hybrid schedule where I'm in the office some days and working from home some days. I did do that really consistently for probably the first 3 months of the year, and then I actually started biking into the office instead of driving into the office, and that's great and fills me with a lot of joy. So when I bike into the office, my gym is not in a bikeable area, so I can't really bike to the gym and then bike to work. I can either bike to work or I can drive to the gym. And biking fills me with a lot of joy and is also a really good cardio workout, especially because I live in Asheville and it's very, very hilly here. So I still have my gym membership and I do want to take advantage of that. And so I think my new goal moving forward is that I would like to go to the gym before work on days that I have to drive to the office, because I do have to drive fairly frequently for work. So on days that I must drive, I would like to go to the gym before going into work, just so that I'm either riding, biking, or working out before work if things go well moving forward. Again, these healthy routine goals are the hardest one because, again, it's not really like a consistent routine. It changes every week depending on what day I'm able to work from home and what day I have to drive, if I have to drive, that kind of thing. But yeah, just saying this out loud, I think, is helping me to reestablish that this is still a priority for me. Then my next 3 goals were all house goals. Like I said, we bought this house back in October of 2024 and did a few house projects back then. My first goal was we want to remodel the kitchen. That has been put on pause because my husband was actually laid off a few months ago. He does have a new job now, but there was like a period of uncertainty, which is when I thought we would be starting on the kitchen remodel, that we were just like, oh, kitchen remodels a lot of money and our money situation is up in the air. So we just decided to press pause on that whole project. And that was definitely the right call. We're both employed again, we're doing well, but I think it is possible we will still start on our kitchen remodel possibly this fall, but I am not positive at this point that we will finish the kitchen remodel. I imagine that will take a lot of time and a lot of labor, and yeah, I'm just not positive that we'll be able to finish that project this year, but I do think that we will be able to start on it this year, so that's still a realistic goal. We're also getting ready to start encapsulating our crawl space, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. I'm really not looking forward to it, but that's just something that needs to be done. So that's a much bigger priority at this point before remodeling the kitchen, because we need to make sure that there's no moisture and things like that. So that is the actual like must get done before winter goal. My second house goal was to build a big front porch. This is a big priority for us. We love outdoor spaces and we have a front stoop, but not a front porch. And again, that was another one that got put on pause because of the job situation that we were in earlier this year. At this point, it is the heat of summer. We are not going to be building a porch in the middle of awful weather. So we did build a back patio in lieu of that this spring, and that was really awesome. That became a higher priority because in the late fall, early winter last year, right after we bought the house, we built a French drain, which meant we had to dig up a ton of our backyard, and it became really just like a muddy, sloppy mess after that because there was no plants growing over top of it, of course, because it was winter time. And so we were able to, when spring hit, build a back patio and plant a bunch of things, and that has solved the muddy pit of our backyard, and now we do have a great outdoor hangout space. So it kind of replaced the porch project for this year. We are still going to build a nice big front porch, but at this point that will probably be next spring instead. Here is our back patio, which needs to be weeded and is covered in leaves and stuff, but you can see we made a really awesome flagstone fire pit sort of sitting circle, and it's awesome. We planted a bunch of moss in between the rocks, so it looks like it's been here for way longer than it has, and I absolutely love that. And my last house goal was to start a vegetable garden. I am happy to say that we have tons of veggies growing right now. The one thing what I was worried about was our ability to grow veggies, because we have tons of big mature shade trees in our yard and very little full sun. Actually, no full sun. We only have a few hours of sun in our yard every day, which is really, really nice when it's hot outside like this, but it does make it very hard to grow vegetables. So I'm still waiting to see how successful a lot of our vegetables are going to be, but I will insert some footage of our vegetable garden. And I built 3 big raised beds in the front. My husband built a raised bed in the back. And the one in the back does seem to be doing a little bit better because it has more sun. The ones in the front, we have some successes and some failures, and it's all just a big learning experiment this year. But I think we're learning a lot and hopefully can fine tune it more as the seasons progress to know what to plant and what not to plant and when. Over here, this is my husband's raised bed that he built. So you can see we've got some good things blooming. Got some blooming beans. We've got some tomatoes that are growing. Check out this cucumber right here. And here are my 3 raised beds that I built. We also built this path to our front stoop with the leftover flagstones that we had from the back patio. But here are the 3 raised beds. So this one is cucumbers and tomatoes, which I've learned should not be in the same raised bed together because the cucumbers are just totally taking over. And I don't know that we really have enough sun for the tomatoes to produce fruit, but there are bumblebees in here that are enjoying all the cucumber blossoms, so that's really exciting. And this is some potatoes and kale, which have been the kale has just been completely eaten up by caterpillars, so they're not doing great. And then over here we have peppers, carrots, and sugar snap peas. And it just got too hot for the sugar snap peas, so I'm gonna try those again in the fall. But the carrots and peppers seem like they're doing okay right now. So that's the garden. And then my last 2 goals that I had for 2025 were new community goals. Number 9, my second to last goal was just to get settled in my new job. And like I mentioned at the time that I set this goal, this was something that was going to happen whether or not I really put any effort into it, because that's just something that naturally occurs over time. But I knew that this was going to be a really intense year in terms of like trying to get settled, and so I didn't want to set any really challenging goals. But I am really happy to say that I am feeling settled in my new job. I love my coworkers. I've developed some good friendships there at my workplace, and that feels really nice. I have a great relationship with my boss. I had my first performance evaluation already. I've only been there, like, I started in December, so like 7-ish months, 6-7 months. And yeah, I had my first performance evaluation that went really, really well. And I feel like I'm kind of at the point where I'm already like kicking ass. So that feels really good. And yeah, I'm just super excited. I really, really like my job and I like my workplace and it's going well. So that feels great. And then my final goal was like becoming integrated into our local community, right? Like we just moved to a new city that we didn't know a ton about, and I wanted to make new friends. I wanted to find organizations I could volunteer with and, you know, just like get out and about and explore. And I am also happy to say that that is going well. I wouldn't say that I am fully integrated into the community yet. As you may know, Asheville went through a horrible natural disaster back in September when we were under contract to purchase this home and move here. Hurricane Helene, and Asheville's been on a rocky road to recovery since then. And so it was challenging to get out and explore our community. There were so many places that were closed or washed away, and there was just so much. I don't want to talk about it. I'm tired of talking about Hurricane Helene. But things are looking up. We have been regularly attending our neighborhood association meetings and volunteering with them to plan and organize some events for our neighborhood, which was really fun. We had our first block party since we moved here, and we're planning some more events for the fall. I'm very, very much in love with the neighborhood that we moved into and all of our very sweet neighbors. I've also started volunteering with a conservation nonprofit that I really, really love, and I'm excited to see that's like just started for me, barely, but I have been attending their meetings and I've done like one volunteering event with them, so I'm excited to see how that develops over the rest of the year. And we have been making new friends. A lot of them have been like through work or work adjacent things so far, but we've also been attending like community bike rides, and one of the friends that we made recently, who was like a friend of a coworker, is actually going to take us out sailing this weekend, and I've never been sailing before, so I feel like we're starting to hit that like critical mass of knowing people enough that we're able to do things with people. So that's feeling really good. And I can't wait to see like, yeah, where all of that is in another 6 months from now. So those were all of my goals. I ended up talking way longer than I expected, but those were my 10 goals for 2025, and I'm definitely falling short on some. I'm excelling at others, and I think the major big life ones are the ones I feel best about. Like the reading, like hobby goals are the ones that I probably am slacking the most on, but that feels appropriate for where we are and what's going on in our lives right now. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about 2025, and I think that things will get easier as the year goes on. Hopefully all of the major disruptions are over. Yeah, I would love to hear about what your goals are for the rest of 2025, if you'd like to share them down in the comments below. And if you don't have any goals for the rest of your year, I'd just love to hear like maybe what's something cool that you've accomplished in the last 6 months. So thanks so much for hanging out and tuning in. Please be kind, read more books, and hit the subscribe button down below for more bookish content to come. I'll see you again soon.